so our next speaker is new. This is Logan Gray, who comes to us from British Blind Sports and is going to talk to us about the sorts of sports that are available to people with visual impairment and also how to access them. So welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's not a good start. Okay. Firstly, Christian, that was great. There's quite a few people out there who really have great stories to tell about sport, and it's great to hear about your passion and the changes it's really brought to your life, and also great to hear about your enthusiasm for this charity as well, BBS UK. Just an early disclaimer, if I say BBS during this, I'm referring to British Blind Sport, not Bardet-Biedl syndrome. I was nearly asked to completely change my whole presentation because it was littered with BBSs, so it now should say British Blind Sport throughout at all points. And lastly, just thanks to everyone who came along, maybe brought their kids down to try some of the sports last night in here. We didn't break any windows, there's not too many holes in the walls either, so yeah, it was a good session. Did I just use this? Yeah. So my name's Logan. I'm the National Partnerships Manager for British Blind Sport, and I just want to go through a little bit about just kind of follow on from what Christian's already been preaching about the benefits of sport and physical activity. We're not just about sport, British Blind Sport, it's generally about getting people with visual impairments active by whatever means. No, not the right one. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of standing up and sitting down. So if you consider yourself to have an active lifestyle, stand up. Okay, maybe half. Okay, great. Everybody sit down. Okay, this time, how many minutes of moderate exercise does the Chief Medical Officer recommend daily for children aged 5 to 18 years old? Okay, so stand up for 20, first of all. So that's 20 minutes a day. Okay, sit down. 40 minutes a day. Okay, great. Thank you. 60 minutes a day. Okay, a majority. And then 100 minutes a day. Okay, thank you very much. The answer to that one is 60 minutes a day. Okay, well done, everyone. Okay, so I'm not expecting you to read this. Public Health England have these infographics which have much more information just about the benefits that children can have by taking part in regular physical activity. Can help them to maintain a healthy weight, sleep more, makes you feel good, and you can see it's all sorts of things, just general play, running, walking, skating, swimming, dancing, there's all sorts. It is not just about traditional sports. Okay, next one. How many minutes of moderate intensity exercise does the Chief Medical Officer recommend weekly this time for adults? So not daily, weekly this time. 100 minutes per week for A, stand up. 150 minutes per week, stand up. Okay, still thinking about it. 200 minutes. Okay, and 250. Okay, probably most for that one. Okay, good news, everyone. It's actually only 150. So, the Chief Medical Officer recommends 5 30-minute sessions per week, but actually anything kind of 10 minutes or more can count towards that 150 minutes in your week. Okay, and this is the adults one. Again, I don't expect you to be able to read it. I can't see it from here. So, but again, it's about building strength, improving your balance. But I'm sure you know all about the health benefits physically to your heart and lungs and your muscles and your bones. But also, just generally, the idea is that it will improve your quality of life. Okay, so why get active? So being active is only just kind of working hard enough to kind of get a bit warmer and get your heart rate going a little bit. It's not about running marathons. It's not about running 100 meters as fast as you can necessarily. It's, as a minimum, walking at a brisk pace. You might have seen a bit in the news towards the end of last year. BBC were sort of saying that actually middle-aged adults need to walk faster, and it was a headline. So everybody was just dawdling around, and actually if they just went a little bit faster, then they'd be able to contribute to that 150 minutes they need to just maintain a general level of fitness. But not only are there health benefits, both physically but also mentally, it improves your quality of sleep. It can maintain a healthy weight, manages stress, increases productivity, improves overall quality of life, and much, much more. Okay, so why do people choose to take sport and physical activity? Now, the ones I've got here were actually from a piece of research that British Blind Sport did, I think it was 2014, about the kind of the barriers to participating in sport and physical activity that people with vision impairments face. And these were their kind of main motivations that kind of came up. And you'll see they're very similar to sighted people as well. Health benefits, obviously. To meet people and make friends is an especially important one. There's a lot of especially blind people with very little sight out there who can suffer from social isolation. So if you are a kind of a worker, an ECLO or a QTVI or whatever, and you're working with somebody who's particularly introverted and can't get out there, then sport and physical activity is a great way to go. The enjoyment of taking part or competing. So we heard a lot about Christian's competitive aspirations, but actually it doesn't have to be about that. It doesn't have to be going to international championships. It can literally just be going along to a weekly session, meeting some friends, and just enjoying yourself. It's not always about competing, and it's not always about sport either. It could be a group fitness class, it could be a dance session. For older people, more gentle exercise is becoming more and more popular. Things like going out for group walks. Walking for Health's a great organisation who put them on. But even new activities such as like walking football. So those who thought their football careers were over, they can still get back into that. And of course, to increase your confidence. Those were the main ones that came out of that piece of research from visually impaired people about why they take part in sport and physical activity. And of course, overall, you just want to feel good. So who is British Blind Sport? British Blind Sport is a charity. Its mission is to make a visible difference through sport. We're just small. We've only got 9 members of staff, but we have actually grown quite a bit in the last year or so. We've got about 1,000 members, and about half of them benefit, our kids and children benefit from a free membership. So how does British Blind Sport help? Behind the scenes, probably not so relevant to you guys, but I just kind of want to know that there is people kind of advocating for the visually impaired community with sporting organisations and trying to make these inclusive sessions happen. Again, Christian was talking about Tennis Foundation. They're probably one of the more developed VI sports, I would say, and we do a lot of work with them to make sure that they have as many centres across the country who are able to offer a great experience for visually impaired people coming in the door. We do some classification work with them as well, both domestically and internationally, and that's just a good example of that. We also work. Sorry, it's just water. It's not wine. It's not red wine. Okay. We also work, so I probably work with about 12 to 15 different sports and I'd say they're more just kind of priority sports, and that they're the ones that the visually impaired community say that they especially want to take part in. We don't limit ourselves to saying, oh, you can actually do this sport or that sport. We very much are ambitious enough to say, actually, okay, if you want to, like I was speaking to somebody yesterday who said they want to do scuba diving. And I was like, okay, he's completely blind. I really want to do scuba diving. I was like, okay, I'll go and find you somewhere you can do scuba diving. And it is really not limited to just your traditional sports like, I don't know, athletics, tennis, swimming, goalball. It really is much wider than that. So And we also work with VI organisations like BBS UK. I think off the back of today, certainly, and there'll definitely be some talk between Christian and I about how we can work together better and complement each other's services. And because we're obviously out there working with the sports organisations to create these great opportunities, but we need a little bit of extra help from sight loss charities, RNIB, Guide Dogs, all these guys to help get the word out there. And training. Yeah, I've just completed an e-learning module actually, designing one that will go to coaches to help them be more inclusive and hopefully also leisure centres to make them feel more confident if a VI person rocked up at their front door one day. So this is probably more relevant to you guys, events. So we actually don't do a huge amount of sports delivery as such. We have some membership competitions, if you like, the Partially Sighted Football League. We work closely with Blind Cricket England and Wales as well to run their leagues and a few other sports. One of our main focuses at the moment is our local kind of Have a Go Day taster. It's almost like a road show around the country. And we've got another 8 to 10 events this year, which are, off the top of my head, Oxford, Bristol, Cambridge, London, Surrey, Sussex, Liverpool, Newcastle. I'm sure I'm missing one or two. But we have these events going on, and that is a case of, again, we don't really do the sports delivery. We invite in deliverers that we're confident in who will offer a great experience to anybody who turns up on the day. And and one of the main things that we're targeting is people who don't take part in sport already, or physical activity for that matter. Classification, I'm not going to go into that too deeply today. It's just to let you know that we do it. Like Christian said, we basically take a test of a person's acuity and field and then turn it into a classification, and that allows blind people to play against blind people and mildly partially sighted people to play against mildly partially sighted people. And there's actually 5 steps in that spectrum from B1 to B5. And we have our National Swimming Gala coming up. That's for kids 8 to 17 years old. We've also got one-to-one classes for 5 to 7-year-olds, and that's in Tudor Grange Leisure Centre in Solihull. We still have some spaces left. Sorry, I need to stop hitting that. If anybody's interested in learning more about that, then come and speak to me afterwards. We do a few other things kind of behind the scenes, I guess. Signposting. So we have a database of about 1,400 clubs that we think should be offering a positive opportunity to take part in sport. So if you live in a certain area, you're interested in a certain sport, get in touch with us and we can say, okay, well, these are the ones that we know of, and actually you're one down the road. It's not on our list, but if you travel another mile down the road, then there's this club there, and that's one that we're confident that you'll get a good opportunity there. Advocacy, again, that's an example of that is, I was speaking to somebody yesterday who said they'd had a bad experience at a bowls club. They'd gone along for a few times and I'd been told, oh, you know what, actually we need to focus on our main members and that we can't actually support you to come to this session anymore. So that's the sort of thing that we can step in and say, okay, well, what's the problem here? You obviously, it's a session for visual impairments yeah, you're saying that you can't support this person. So what's going on? Do you need more volunteers? How can we help? That sort of thing. We market the opportunities and we also carry out research, like I mentioned before. I just wanted to introduce you to a few of our projects quite quickly. The See My Voice project is a new one that we got funding for last year. It's a 3-year project to get kids aged 11 to 18 years old into volunteering opportunities to deliver social action and to develop leadership qualifications. Again, it's free. We've already recruited for the first year, but we will be recruiting again kind of towards the end of the summer. And we're looking for kids all over the country, really. We'll work with them, find out what they want to do, speak to the kids directly. It's one of the main themes is to speak to them directly rather than the parents, the teachers, find out what they want to do and work out how we can help to facilitate that and give them a better chance of employment when they come to their kind of later teen years. It's for 11 to 18 years old. If they do everything, they should get a leadership qualification. It's a one-year term, doing up to 50 hours of volunteering in a year. And it's a chance for them to shape the future a little bit, because they'll have a chance to feed back their experiences to the sports sector decision makers to sort of say, this is what you guys need to do to be more inclusive for visually impaired children in future. First Steps project. I've got one of the boxes with me here today. It's almost like a Grey's box idea. It goes through your letterbox. It goes to families, and it's got a pump, an audible ball that inflates, an activity booklet that basically contains a whole load of physical activity exercises that a family can work through with their kids. The idea is to develop their skills, develop their physical literacy at an early age, and hopefully to gain a little bit of confidence, which we can then in turn feed them into kind of more mainstream sports clubs and activities. So we've done a pilot in the West Midlands. We've done one in Scotland as well. We really want to roll it out nationally. We're just trying to find a funder who's willing to give us enough money for it. We are just about to roll out in Yorkshire specifically. That's the new member of staff starting next week. So she's going to be looking for 50 families in Yorkshire. So if you've got a kid kind of aged between 3 and 11 years old, then we'd love to speak to you about that. And lastly, one for adults. Okay, so Find a Guide is a guide running project, basically. It's a database of guide runners that have been trained and licensed. They're, of course, cited, and basically it's a database so that if you enter your postcode, it'll come up telling you who's nearby that can basically turn up at your doorstep and go out for a run with you, or a walk. It's not just about finding a training partner for the marathon. It could just be going out for a fast walk just to start to get you moving in the right direction. So it's findaguide.co.uk. We've recently relaunched that and upgraded it, so it's got better information on there, and it's more accessible as well. So connect with British Blind Sport. Check out our new website. We've got an activity finder coming soon, which I mentioned, that database of 1,400 clubs. Again, we will be putting that on our website, so you can just enter your postcode and see what's near you. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We've got a great communications officer who puts some brilliant stuff up on there, loads of opportunities, and subscribe to our newsletter on our website.